शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Nachiketa is firm. Bluetooth mode. This is what I want. You offered me 3 varas. You've given me 2 already. The third one is this. I want to know what after the body falls. Now this jid, this privadam that this young boy has, is not the normal privadam that children have. Children always have. In fact, we've all gone through that. You know that children can be very assertive and say, this is what I want, that is it. I will not accept anything else. I remember at a wedding, I've shared this with some of you already, many years ago, they were serving food, big feast. And as part of that, they were serving this big papad, aplam. That fellow went on putting in the plates of everybody. And there was one small child, about maybe 4 years old or so. And the mother was sitting next to the child and she saw that aplam and she broke it for the child. That's it. The child started bawling. Why did you break my aplam? I want my aplam full. And won't be consoled. This is what I want. I want this aplam full. My mother couldn't console her. So of course, it became a little bit of noisy thing. So that fellow came and brought another aplam and gave him. And the child says, no, I want the same aplam and I want it full. He won't accept anything else. That is typical children's privadam, jid. They latch on to something, they will not budge. Nachiketa was not doing that. Nachiketa was firm on what he wants, not because of a childish pig-headedness or mule-headedness or whatever, but because he knew a thing or two. He recognized, maybe because even the childhood may have come from his previous janma, it may be because he grew up in an environment where this was discussed all the time, where Panditats came and discussed and he kept listening to all of them. But he knew there was something to know. And that something is way beyond anything that this world can offer. I love this quote every time I get a chance. Pariksha lokan karmachatan brahmanaha. There is, Upanishad itself says that a human being having examined whatever the world can offer, and seeing that that is not what he wants, that is useless, relatively speaking, rejecting it and saying there is something else, no, something else to gain. Rikshalokan karmachitan brahmana nirvedamayat akritat kritena. And that's something I cannot get by doing. That something has to be got in some other fashion. Tad vijnanartham gurumeva vigachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtam. He goes to the guru because he said there is no other way of knowing this. Nachiketa probably was in the same state without, in this Janma, having gone through all these experiences of getting all that life, that bird can give you, examining it and saying, this is not what I want. But he knew already. He knew because, like I said, either because it came, he'd done all that early in the previous Janma, it is all available to him, it just came out. And been reinforced perhaps by the discussions that were going on in his house. So he was so sure. So he rejected everything that Yamadharmaraja had to offer. He recognized something. He said that this is what you're offering me is shvobhavaha. It is anityam. It may be there, it may not be there tomorrow. Whatever you're offering me in terms of kama, you're offering me music, Gandharva music, celestial dances, all of that. How long will they last? They are not permanent. There is something that will happen, they'll change. Imagine one young girl goes to a concert. What are these girls? A famous one, Dosanjh. Millions of people go to that concert. And somewhere she gets a text message. She's having a great time. She's enjoying herself. That her mother has gotten in an accident and is in the hospital. What happened to all the sukha? 1 minute it was there, next minute it's not there. So the Nachiketa knew that the Shvabhava, Shvaha Bhava, not there tomorrow, maybe there, may not be there. So it gives very good logic saying, this is not something I'm looking for. Hey Antakaitat, hey Lord Yama, this is not what I'm looking for. Besides, there is always reducing return. All the sense objects which you enjoy with the senses, they are there and they'll keep going down. The more of it you get, the more value it will lose. My senses will lose. Object may not lose. So it's interaction between the sense object and sense we're talking about. Will be a loser. So he has already identified that this kind of sukha that he's promising in terms of all the kama, all the desires that he wants, I can give you everything. But he says, no. They may exist today, they may look tempting today, but they may not exist tomorrow. I don't want these. And their value will keep reducing. My ability to enjoy them will keep reducing. So it is anityam. It is also always accompanied by dukkha. This girl who went to the concert knows how much difficulty she faced in trying to go to the concert. She couldn't get the tickets. She had to scrape and scrounge to get the money. And these days the tickets are a ridiculous amount of money. She didn't have enough. She had to go and borrow. And now later she would return it somehow. A lot of not so nice things happening before she could go to this and enjoy the concert. And that went away. So it is anityam. And it is also subject to dukkha. He knows that. Shobhavaha, all this you're offering me, and they Sarvendriyanam Jarayanti Teja, the very power of this thing will go down. They're all limited. I am sure there is something more which is not subject to these limitations that you can offer me in terms of my knowledge. So please keep all your vahana, keep all your music. I don't want them. Tavaiva vahana, tavanitya gite. And here is addressing basically all the bhoga purushartha, the kama purushartha. The way he analyzes them and tells Yamadharma Raja indicates he's done a lot of thinking. Whether he not sat and thought about it for 3 days in Yamaloka, I don't know. But he's obviously thought a lot about it. Because in the next verse, he touches upon all the artha purushartha. Yamadharma has offered him all the artha purushartha, all the kama purushartha. So here in the next verse, he says, Kincha
Kincha
na vittena tarpaniyo manushyah
Navittena
tarpaniyo
tarpaniyo
manusyah
लप्स्यामहे वित्तमद्राक्ष्मचेत्वा
Lapsyamahe vittamadrakshamachetva
जीविष्यामो यावदीशिष्यसि त्वम्
Jivishyamo
यावदिष्यसि त्वम्
परस्तु मे वरणीयः स एव
वरस्तु मे वरणीयः स एव.
You're offering me a lot of wealth, kingdom, land, pashu, all sort of things. But when will it ever satisfy any human being? When will any vitta, any artha satisfy a human being? Tarpaniya, trup dhatu, that which satisfies. That's why you get tripti. Vittena na vrittarpaniya manushya. Yamadharma Raja, you know as well as I do that there is no tripti in these things. Today, if I have as a vahana, I have a bicycle. Tomorrow, I will want a two-wheeler. Day after tomorrow, I will want a bigger two-wheeler. That one that makes more sound. Then I'll want a four-wheeler. A small car is good enough, One nano, if I can get, fantastic, I'll have a four-wheeler. But doesn't satisfy, doesn't remain satisfied. Na tarpaniya. I'll want more. Big car, bigger car, bigger car, the helicopter, aeroplane, there's no limit to it. Any kind of wealth that you can gain, in addition to the fact that it's anitya, it is subject to dukkha, it is also atripti. And it is limited. Nothing of this that you're offering me lasts, either in time or in space or in terms of vastu. It just doesn't last. And that is not what I'm looking for. Now here I am in the presence of one of the devatas, Yamadharma Raja. Having met Yamadharma Raja, Vittam Adrakshma Chetva, having met you, having interacted with you, you are a devata. You yourself said you have the power to give anything. Why should I be satisfied with all this anitya, atripti, and limited things? You tell me. Look at his arguments. Either in terms of kama, nor in terms of artha. Am I going to be satisfied with what you're telling me? See, you also, we discussed this earlier. If you're getting an opportunity to get something from someone, please get the best you can, neither too little nor too much. If a very grateful multi-billionaire offers you something, unto half my kingdom, surely take it. Because he can't give anything more than that. He doesn't have anything more than that to give. Accept that. That's good. Lot of wealth. And that wealth does give you some level of comfort. Take it. But if you're sitting in front of a devata, Nachiketa says, having met you, why should I be satisfied with that? Lapshyamahe, I will get. Lapshyamahe. I know, having met you, all kind of vittam I will get. There cannot be any drought on vittam. Same thing with life. You're saying, I'll give you long life. Shivishyamaha yavat ishishyasi tvam. Hey, you're the Lord of death. I've met you. I've been with you. Now I'm already in Yamaloka. I know I will get. I don't have to specifically say that you give me that. I know I will get. As long as you rule this area, I will have long life. So I'm not going to compromise. Therefore, varahatu me varaniya saiva. This is what I want. So he says, you cannot expect man to be ever satisfied with any kind of artha, wealth. House, car, money, anything you take. There is absolute atripti. That tripti, that sukha lasts for a very short time. Even other lokas where these sukhas may be available are also limited. They're all subject to time. And you are Lord Kala, Lord of time. Why should I accept something which is subject to time and other restrictions when I'm actually sitting in front of the very Lord himself, Lord of death, Lord of time? You're the ruler, Isha. In this area, I will never have any shortage. So that's not what I'm going to look for. I'm asking for something which has none of these restrictions. Therefore, varahatu varaniya saeva. This is what I want. So he's looked at both kama, artha, and he looked at all the normal problems with them. That's why I said, Parikshalokan, Karmachitan, Brahman has quoted to you. Parikshalokan, having examined them and found out that they are anitya, that they are limited in every way, that they are also accompanied by dukkha, that there is atripti on that. There can never be a situation where I say, I don't want anymore. Like fire. You keep feeding fuel to that, it will keep asking for more. Our desires are like that. So atripti is there, anityatvam is there, I recognize that. And I also recognize that it is not from somebody who is not capable of giving me what I'm asking for. I'm asking you because I know you're capable. There is no one better equipped than you. He said, what did they say here? There is nobody better than you. Vakta chasya twadrig anyo na labhyah. You can't find another person who is more qualified to give me this. With that person, why should I be satisfied with some wealth and some longevity and some satisfaction of desires? Not what I want. Having interacted with you, hey Lord Yama, these won't satisfy. Manushyah vittena tarpaniyah. No man is ever come to a state of absolute satisfaction because of any kind of vitta. Tvam adrakshma chet vittam lapsyamahe. In any case, having met you, having interacted with you, adrakshma chet, I will get them. I have no doubts about it. Yavatvam ishyasi tavat jivishyamaha. As long as you are the ruler of this sphere, Kala and Mrityu, I don't have to worry about living long. I am now with you. So don't try to tempt my greediness by offering me something which looks very great now. That's not what I'm looking for. Therefore, hey Lord Yama, saha evatu me varaniyah varaha. That what I asked for is what I want. I don't want anything else. So, Nachiketa's clarity on this not as a child jid, a child's, what's the word I want in this? Pidivadam in Tamil, jid in Hindi. That is not because of that. He is very clear because of his clarity, his understanding that there is something much, much, much bigger that he can get from Yamadharma. Bhashyam. न प्रभूतेन
न प्रभूतेन
वित्तेन तर्पणीयः मनुष्यः
वित्तेन तर्पणीयः
मनुष्यः
Acharya has introduced one more word, prabhutena. Huge quantity. Prabhutena vittena. By huge amounts of wealth, na manushyaha tarpaniyaha. Man cannot be satisfied. Keep on adding more, more, more. Man can never be satisfied. There's some very silly notions floating around that if I have $1 million, I will be very happy. Look at the statement. You know you want to be happy. And you somehow link that happiness with $1 million. Or with a particular companion, or with a house, or with whatever else. Any such link is an error. We know that. No object can give you that. There was a survey I read once in a flight in the UK. And they surveyed a lot of people and did some research. The research I'll put in quotes. That's all the limitation of that research. Where they said anybody who has £1 million will be happy. These kind of limited, illogical research is like medical research, no? Very soon they'll get thrown out. That's what the medical research does. After only through 2 years of testing the laboratory and testing on some animals first and then testing on a few volunteer human beings, you come up with a solution to a problem by injecting some external chemical. And then couple of 2, 3, 4, 5 decades later, you find that that's not true. Have you heard of thalamide? There's once a medicine that came up. This was about 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. All the mothers who were taking thalamide, their children were born deformed. But medical research had cleared it. FDA had cleared it. Everybody had cleared it. That kind of nonsense research. That if you have £1 million, you'll be happy. Hey, come, use some common sense. Use some basic logic. How many of us can say, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if I'd had 1 lakh rupees, I'd have been very happy. I'd have been satisfied. Where is that today? Even 1 crore you won't get. You can't get, there's no relationship between them. A person who has no money is uncomfortable and unhappy because physically he can't buy himself comforts. And a person who has a lot of money will be comfortably unhappy. There's no relation there. What you want to be is happy. Absolutely. With no constraints on that. So, na prabhutena vittena tarpaniya manushya. Acharya, that is the prabhutena. However much you add to it, that go on adding more and more and more, you will still not be satisfied. Nahi loke, let's read that again. Nahi loke vittalabha
नहि
नहि
लोके
लोके
वित्तलाभः
वित्तलाभः
कस्यचित् तृप्तिकरो दृष्टः
कस्यचित्
कस्यचित्
तृप्तिकरो
तृप्तिकरो
दृष्टः
दृष्टः.
Just because you have wealth, we have never seen this. It looks like initially that person is very happy, but it's not. It is well known, prasiddha, in this jagat, for people who are thinking people. The unthinking people might still have this illusion. But for thinking people, kasyachit triptikaraha drishtaha. We have not seen anybody being satisfied because he has wealth. Vittalabha. Is our experience. What generally happens is the person who doesn't have the vitta hasn't experienced. Somebody told me a long time ago, one young person said, Swamiji, you've gone, seen that, done that. You've had all the wealth that you needed. I haven't. Shouldn't I first get all that before I go into this? Maybe you should. But clearly, Nachiketa, although he has not gone through all that in this Janma, he is very clear. He says, Loke vittalabha kasyatit triptikaraha na drishtaha. Just because one has wealth, one cannot say he is a happy person. And you look around, you can see this everywhere. People who have a lot of money, are they very happy? What happens is we don't know either that what I want is happiness, or we are not able to see that there is no connection between wealth and happiness. Therefore, there's no connection between my doing to gain more wealth or health or wealth or fame or other karma. All the doing is not going to get me that which I want. It's not going to get me to a state where I am kritakritagnya. I have done all that is to be done. There's nothing more to do. They will always be wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. So he says, wealth you're offering me does not tempt me. Even if you assume that there is something that you can get, he's not disregarding wealth. He's not saying wealth has no value. An amazing fellow. He's telling Yamadharmaraja that wealth does not do what I want done. But wealth does something. He's not poo-pooing wealth, saying it is not. I'm going to therefore live a life of an absolute mendicant. He says, even if wealth were to give some level of comfort, some temporary sukha, I can get that. I don't need to waste a boon on that. Yadi nama
Yadi nama
asmakam vitta trishna syat
asmakam
अस्माकं
vittatrishna
वित्ततृष्णा स्यात्
lapsyamahe
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 प्राप्स्यामः
etat vittam.
वित्तं
Even if you accept, even if you assume, indeed, yadi nama, that there is a vitta trishna, there is a desire for wealth. Even if you assume that, don't worry, I will get lapsyamahe, prapsyamahe. I will get it. I don't have to waste a boon. That kind of wealth I can get. How will you get? How are you going to get that kind of wealth? Adrakshma
adrakshma
दृष्टवन्तः
दृष्टवन्तः
वयं चेत्
vayam
चेत्
त्वां
त्वां
दृष्टवन्तः Adrakshma. I've seen you. And he says vayam. In fact, he doesn't use I, he says we. That's true for everybody. So, vayam tvam drishtavantaha. I have met you, I have interacted with Lord Yamadharmaraja, the Devata. I mean, therefore, wealth is not an issue. I cannot not get wealth. Therefore, he says, even if Vitta Trishna is there, Lapsyamahe, I will get. And because I have seen Lord Yama. Therefore, I don't want to make it part of my third boon. Nor do I want to make Jiva, longevity, because that also I will get. You're a Devata of Kala and Mrityu. Jivitamapi tathaiva.
jeevitamapi tathaiva
Jiva, I met you. Why should I worry about asking that as a separate boon? I will get. In all of this, he's not throwing into the waste paper basket longevity or wealth or anything. He says, I will get, why should I worry? Jeevitam api tataiva jeevishyamaha
Vishyamah.
Vishyamah
yavat yamye pade
Yavat
Yamye
Pade
Pade
ishishyasi
Tvam
Tvam
Ishishyase
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 prabhu yaha.
Prabhusyaha
Hey, Yamadharmaraja, you are the Isha, Bhagavan, Isha, the Lord of this you're the Lord, you Lord over all of these, Desha, Kala and Mrityu and all that. As long as you're holding the position of Yamadharmaraja. Yamadharmaraja's position. It's a title. It's not his name. You know that all the devatas also come and go. Each kalpa there's a new devata, new Brahmaji itself. I mean, forget about Yamadharmaraja. They also have a limit. Therefore, although they are, from our perspective, from the denizens of Mrityuloka perspective, they are eternal. They're really not eternal. This is the difference you will see between the way somebody who has been born into this culture sees, because what we see is a kalpa. Kalpa, as we saw, is something like 8.2 billion years. That long. Compared to 80 or 100 years of a human life, it's infinite. But they're also, that Yamadharmaraja is a position that this Jiva has got because of whatever punya he did earlier. So he says, Yamye Pade, this post, this position, this title that you've got, as long as you're holding this title, long life is not a problem for me. Because you are the Lord of Mrityu. And your relative existence is infinite compared to mine. Therefore, I'll always get the long life. Jivishyamaha. We will live, again using plural, very long periods. Yavat yamye pade tvam ishishyasi. As long as you hold this position, which is enormously long time, and you are the Lord of this, Prabhu. So I don't have to separately ask for longevity. Mrityu, katham hi martastvaya,
Katam
Katam
Hi
hi martastvaya
katham hi
Katam Hi
Katam hi
martastvaya sametya
martastvaya sametya
alpadhanayuhu bhavet.
alpadanayuhu bhavet.
Having interacted with you, hey Lord Yama, tvaya sametya, I have been near you, having interacted with you, then the dhana, mrityu, etc., why should I ask? Khatam hi martyah tvaya sametya alpadhanayuhu bhavet. How can a martya who has interacted with you as the Lord of time, as the Lord of death, ever be alpadhana ayuhu? Therefore, I am very clear. Therefore, Varastu me varaniyah sa eva.
वरस्तु मे वरणीयः स एव
Interacted with the person who holds the position of Yamadharmaraja, Yamye Pade. I'm not going to worry about those things like, he calls it interesting, Alpa Dhana Ayuhu. What he offered him was not Alpa, it looked like very big. But look at his perspective. He's an Alpa Dhana Ayuhu. Because compared to what he's asking for, it is Alpa. Alpa means small, little. Because what he's asking for is the infinite. Purnatvam. Varastu me varaniha saeva. This is what I want. What I asked for is what I want. What did he ask for? That which people don't have clarity. And you yourself said, even Devatas don't have clarity. Asti ityeke, nayam asti iti cha eke. That truth of that, the truth of the self, that is what I'm asking for. And that, compared to that, everything else is alpa dhana ayuhu. Therefore, if I can get that, why should I ask for this? It's like having done a great favor to Anil Ambani. You say, you know what, I don't have bus fare to go to, and he offers you whatever you want. I don't have a bus fare to go to the other. Can you give me 10 rupees? Useless. What I'm asking for and what you're capable of giving me is the infinite. Sheer knowledge. Knowing very well that I am Purnaha. Explain to me, show me how it is true. He might, like I said, have interacted with a lot of Panditas. And he's got this knowledge, which is not assimilated, that I am Purnaha. Now he's got an opportunity to talk to Yamadharmaraja, who can make him understand. You know, when we are studying Bhagavad Gita, I keep telling you that there is a bhakti there referred to 9 times in the Bhagavad Gita called Ananya Bhakti. Mattaha anyat na. That, hey Ishvara, Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, you and I are not different, they are the same. This is what I have learned in all the Shravanam that I have done. And I have Shraddha in that. I have Shraddha in what the Shastra says and what my Guru has unfolded for me. But I don't understand. Hey Bhagavan, please help me understand how you and I are the same. How is it that you are I am the same? As far as I can see, you are Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman. You can do anything. I am Alpajna, Alpashaktiman, subject to sorrow, subject to pain. How can we be the same? Please make me understand. Ananya Bhakti. That bhakti that I exhibit, by which I am pleading with the Lord to explain to me and make me understand how I am nothing but Parameshwara. He's probably in the same state. He has gathered in the few years that he has been in this life, supported by all that he'd done earlier, by discussions with Panditas, that I is infinite. Purnaha. And that's the only existent thing. But can't figure out how. So he's telling him this Atma Vijnanam, the clarity about the nature of I being Purnaha. 2 steps. I, the individual, is limited. I, the Ahankara, is limited. But I know that there is a problem there in my understanding. I, the body, mind, sense complex, is limited. But my Guru says, my Shastra says, I am not that. If I is not that, what am I? What is I? I is that infinite. And we use so many words. Parameshwara, Brahman, Om. That is I. And that I is what I want to understand. That I is what this Alpa I wants to understand. Once I said that there is no Alpa I, there is no individuality. I is Purnatva. Therefore, Shastra also says, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. He who knows Brahman, Parameshwara, me, all that to be the same, and that Ekameva Advitiya Akhanda Atma. He's that Brahman. How can it be any different? Brahmavit, he who knows Brahman, Brahma eva bhavati. He is Brahman. And that knowledge is what I'm seeking from you here, Dharmaraja. Not all this money and wealth and desires and longevity and music and dance and everything else. Not what I'm looking for. Hey, Dharmaraja, therefore, Varastu me varaniya sa eva yad atma vijnanam. Clarity, absolute assimilation, aparoksha jnanam about I. I don't want to know I as one Brahman, one Parameshwara sitting there. That's how I start. That's how I pray to Ishvara saying, I know you know everything. I know you're all Shaktiman. I don't feel that. I feel I am Alpajna, Alpa Shaktiman. Can you please help me understand how this is to be connected? My understanding, my knowledge is limited. And with that knowledge, I have to understand that no, it's not true. My knowledge, my Shakti is same as Ishvara. How do I do that? Help me gain that knowledge. Hey, Dharmaraja, Atma Vijnanam. Not just Atma Jnanam, absolute assimilated aparoksha jnanam of the self. Help me understand. I don't want any of these things. He continues in the next 2 verses again in the same vein, saying, you can't tempt me. I know these are nice things. I know great to have great music, Gandharva music, great to have celestial dancers serving me, great to have a long life, children, grandchildren, all of that you promised me. Great, fantastic stuff. But if I can get what I need, what I am asking for, all these become alpa. These are useless. Bhagavan says, come and take what you want. What are you going to take? He says, I'll give you a kingdom, the earth, you take it. You're not going to tell him, okay, very good, but please include my village also. Yeah, it's included already. Your village is part of that. If you can get knowledge of the self as infinite, everything else is already included. So, hey, Yamadharma Raja, don't try to tempt me with the small, small things everywhere. I'm not going to get tempted. Yatascha
यतश्च
यतश्च
ajiryatam amritanam upetya
अजीर्यताम्
वीर्यताम्
अमृतानाम्
अमृतानामुपेत्य
ajiryan matyah
जीर्यन्मर्त्यः
वीर्यन्मर्त्यः
kvedastha prajanan
वदस्थ
वदस्थ
प्रजानन्
प्रजानन्
abhidhyayan varnarati pramodan
विद्यायन्
अभिध्यायन्
वर्णरति
प्रमोदान्
प्रमोदान्
atidhirge jivite ko rameta.
अतिदीर्घे
अतिदीर्घे
जीविते
जीविते को
रमेत
रमेत
हे मृत्योः क्वदहस्थ कः मर्त्यः जीर्यन् अजीर्यताम् अमृतानाम् उपेत्य. I am asking for the highest. You can't go higher. Why should I accept anything less than that? I have met you. Ajiryatam amritanam upetya. Relatively speaking, you are ajirya. You don't have old age. You don't have death. Relatively speaking. Why would anybody be satisfied with anything less? All this music, dance, all these joys you're offering, all the long life you're offering, it's basically expanding on what he said in the previous verse, which we will expand on tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om